28th of September, 1066. Having been in preparations for months and after being delayed by unfavourable weather conditions again and again, William of Normandy finally arrived on the southern coast of England. The king, along with 7,000 to 8,000 men, are ready to fight tooth and nail for what William believes is rightfully his, the crown of the English throne. In today's video, we're taking a look at one of the most famous events in British history, a saga that completely changed the societal makeup of the British Isles and saw an entire way of life replaced by something completely new. This is the Norman invasion of 1066, 957 years to the day after it happened. Pevensey, a small village nestled on the southern coast of England, was the landing point for William and his men. Today, the quaint, quiet village serves a small community of locals living the peaceful life. Thatched roofs, narrow streets and a castle for good measure, Pevensey is what you might call a quintessentially English village today. However, back in 1066, this was to be the starting point of Old England's, or Anglo-Saxon England's, eventual undoing. In early August, William had amassed an invasion force of thousands of soldiers and hundreds of ships. It was thought that the crossing would need to be done during the summer during the small window of good weather that the British Isles receives on average. However, adverse winds delayed the invasion until September, keeping the fleet firmly planted in Normandy. There were also reports from William's intelligence that Harold Godwinson, the English king, had fortified positions all along the southern coast, ready for the imminent threat of attack, which may have also played a part in William holding his ground in France for the time being. By late September, trouble at home forced Harold to abandon his position and ride north to confront his rebellious brother Tostig and the King of Norway Harald Hardrada, who had their own intentions for glory of the English crown. This event gave William a chance to launch his invasion without being confronted by an opposing force. William and his men set sail across the English Channel and landed on the coast of Sussex. And once ashore, the army started conducting raids on local villages to supplement their resources of food and weapons. Harold, now having confronted and defeated his brother and the King of Norway at the Battle of Stamford Bridge, hurriedly rode south to oppose the Normans. However, having just been involved in a huge battle and taking significant losses, the English army were weakened and exhausted by the time they caught news of the Norman invasion. It is thought that Harold spent some time in London after Stamford Bridge, perhaps to recruit more men or consolidate his power by being present in the capital, and by the time he left again a week later, the English army was thought to number around 8,000 men. Meanwhile, back in Sussex, William fortified his position near the town of Hastings by building a wooden fort there. His army over the next weeks continued their raids of local lands, many of which actually belonged to Harold himself. In this time frame, some of William's scouts reported sightings of the English army, uncloaking any element of surprise Harold may have wished to levy against the Norman king. Not a huge amount is known between the end of September and early October, aside from Harold's brief respite in London and William's raids along the Sussex coast. But on the morning of the 14th of October 1066, under a brisk autumnal air, the English and Norman armies would confront each other at the legendary Battle of Hastings. We're going to save the battle for its own video in a few weeks' time, and like today's one, make it an anniversary special documenting the event itself, the impact it had on English society, and its influence on the textbooks of history, the exact day it happened. Hastings was and still is an important chapter of time firmly rooted in the consciousness of many English and French people today, and thus certainly deserves its own video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's brief but informative episode on the start of the Norman Conquest. Be sure to look out for part 2 in the coming weeks, and I'll see you next time.